Hello and welcome to this evening edition of the official Facebook Lives. You see, when the fourth quarter buzzer sounds, you turn to us for your fifth quarter sports talk. I'm Will Farlow here, joining you as the host of this Facebook live stream where we are talking about all things Chicago sports. So I'm going to have some questions that are going to come up, and I'm new to using this on the Facebook on my laptop, so we're gonna see how this works. So I'm gonna have some questions. We're gonna talk about all the Chicago sports. Now, I wanna let you guys know what's been going on with your hosts. It's kind of been an interesting last month or so. You know, things get interesting in life. I recently was diagnosed positive for COVID-19 2 weeks ago, asymptomatic, so had no symptoms, but still had to isolate, and I am all good to go. Got vaccinated. So just an important note to Little School Horse Special fans, just to continue as something we've tried to do here at Little School Horse Specials to make you aware and to just raise awareness. You know, thank healthcare workers, first responders, all of those on the front lines of this pandemic. You know, we've seen a lot of servicemen and women that serve our country that have basically put their lives on the line too, giving out vaccines, helping out in any way possible, and it's incredible to see still at this point as well, especially with the rise of vaccinations. But just a brief point, that's why there hasn't been a lot of content aside from blog posts or social media. You know, I just had to focus on getting better and being with my family, and it's all good. So we're gonna have a lot more content coming out. I just want to appreciate the fans that have reached out and that have been supportive of me through it. And just stay safe out there, guys. I know it's getting warmer, so just still wear your masks, socially distance, use hand sanitizer, get vaccinated. It's very important. So that's just a brief awareness message from your host and creator, Will Farlow here. So just to make that point early on. Now we're gonna get into the fun topic, which is Chicago sports, and you can probably see my jersey. Got the Brady jersey going there. White Sox and Cubs both just finished action on different sides of the city. So we're gonna start with the North Siders, the Chicago Cubs, and they hosted the Milwaukee Brewers. So it was a nice division rivalry over there at Wrigley Field, and David Ross had Jake Arrieta going. And I think that's a really cool story just to start off. We haven't really talked baseball on the show yet this year, aside from some blog posts and everything. So um, this is the first time we're talking about baseball on the show right now in 2021. So the Cubs are in an interesting position. I think a lot of fans that are seeing this, Cub fans or White Sox fans, can agree that the Cubs are going to eventually have a decision to make, but they're playing pretty well early on for a season that's the first time teams are playing 162 games again, considering last year was a shortened 60 game season. Yes, last year was pretty much the most interesting season of baseball we're probably ever going to see for hopefully a long time. And the Cubs, they came in, to this game with a record of 9-11 on the year and a average 500 home record. Now it's 10-11 after this game, and 8-7 at home. They fell to the Brewers 6-0, and we're going to talk about why. We're going to go through the box score a little bit, and then courtesy of Baseball Reference, kind of go through the stats a little bit of how the team's looking, where they're at, and what is going to basically happen possibly throughout. So just kind of taking a look, I'm going to post this question, and this is the first one. We're going to have a few questions coming out here throughout the Facebook Live. So check out the question, and what I want you guys to be able to do is to just answer it. You can comment as usual on our Facebook Lives on questions you might have, comments, anything. I love interacting with our fans here at Will Score Special. We have some really great fans, and many more to come, I hope. So here's the first card opening. And the question is now open. So the first question of the Facebook Live. How would you evaluate the early season start of the Chicago Cubs? So right now we're looking at them starting a 162 game season with some question marks. Players like Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Javier Baez. in contract years. Something a lot of Cub fans are concerned about. These are cornerstone players that this franchise won a World Series with in 2016. Its first in 108 years back in 2016, and made some playoff and wildcard runs years past after that recently since 2016. But they're coming into 2021 with a division in the NL Central that's really interesting. And, in regards to the Cardinals, they got Nolan Arenado and made some other moves in their pitching. The Brewers made some moves on both sides, both pitching and their offense and defense, bringing in Colton Wong and making some interesting moves. Just looking at Cincinnati, another team that's really made some moves throughout the offseason into the regular season at this point as well, and just kind of seeing where that division is, especially with Pittsburgh rebuilding, starting a rebuild process. They're playing some pretty decent competitive baseball. So, just getting into that question, my take on it, I'm going to start it with how the Cubs did today. That can kind of be a premiere to my answer. And I want to hear what you guys think. So, even if, this is a live stream, but this will be on our YouTube channel as usual. So, this will be posted after. So, if you see these questions and you want to comment on the video as it's posted in our YouTube channel that's open for comments, please do. I want to hear what fans have to say about all these questions that I'm going to be posing throughout the Facebook Live. And this will be kind of the new 10, style added to our Facebook Live here at Will Score Special. Is different questions will be posted for you guys to check out, answer, kind of see where you guys are at thought-wise on the teams. Maybe we're talking about something you didn't know about yet. So, we always give good unbiased sports content. That'll continue, guys. But this kind of gets you guys a little more involved, and that's important on our live streams or segments we do as fan interaction. That's very key. So I really hope you guys take that as an opportunity to do so. So looking at today's matchup against the Brewers, Jake Arrieta is a pretty good pitcher, guys. Did really well with the Cubs in his first stint. Comes back after an injury-plagued few years stint in Philadelphia, and he takes the loss today. But looking at his pitching stats, I think it's a pretty solid outing, even though he took the loss today. 8 strikeouts, 101 pitches, 63 of those were strikes, and he only gave up 2 hits and 1 earned run. In a game, that shows your pitcher had a very strong outing. Looking at the Brewers won 6-0, that means he only gave up 1 of those 6 runs. So that means he had a really good game. His pitch count just got up there in 6 innings, and David Ross had to make the smart judgment call. Brought in Alec Mills, who has done pretty well for the Cubs. We saw him have some starts last year in the shortened season, do pretty well. He's kind of like your start or relief type pitcher based on how the Cubs want to set the rotation throughout the year. He gives you that option. And he went 2 innings, only gave up 2 hits, so that's pretty reasonable. The pitcher that was the issue for the Cubs, so Maples came in towards the end of the game, got 2 strikeouts in the loss. But Adam, their pitcher out of the bullpen that came in, is the culprit of those 5 other runs that were given to, uh, result in Milwaukee winning the game 6-0. And he had given up 3 hits and 27 pitches, and 5 of them were earned runs. So Brandon Woodruff on the Brewers side got the win. Record goes to 2-0. Jake Arrieta's record for the Cubs is now 3-2 after the loss. Brewers just pitched really good baseball. Did not give up any runs. They pretty much shut out the Cubs. The Cubs did get 4 hits off the Brewers. Devin Williams is a really interesting pitcher to watch out of that Brewers bullpen that already has a solid piece in Josh Hader, guys. This is, it's exciting to see pitchers pitch the way they do now in this era of baseball. Power arms, and, we've seen starters throughout the week throw 100 miles per hour when we usually would expect that only from relievers on some occasions. So seeing that in a game like this that has divisional connections is really exciting. So the Brewers record goes to 13-8 on the year, 9-3 away record. So just kind of looking at the stats, the Cubs, as I mentioned, only had 4 hits, and those hits came from Javier Baez, Anthony Rizzo, David Bodie, who I think, if you play Brian in left continuously and you don't play him at third too much, Bodie's not a bad third baseman. I like his defense, has really good play for the Cubs. We've seen that during his time with the Northsiders at the third base spot. And Matt Duffy was the other hitter. So he came in for Jake Arrieta as a pinch hitter. Interesting choice by David Ross. Matt Duffy did have a pretty good career previously with Tampa Bay early on in his major league career. So kind of looking on the Brewers side, they had 7 hits. Colton Wong with 2, Narvaez with 2 as well. Urias, their shortstop, with 1. McKinney, former Cub prospect, with a hit, and Travis Shaw with a hit as well. So that's kind of where the Cubs are. I think this kind of can help answer that question that I just posed to you guys. So I'm going to repeat it for those of you that are new to the video. How would you evaluate the early season start of the Chicago Cubs? So I think you can kind of see it from the hitting. Now, yes, a lot of people are going to say the last few days they had a combined 31 runs in 2 games. Yes, but it's a 162 game season. So I think the jury is still out, but just kind of looking at some of the batting averages, you have it's pretty well spaced. Wilson Contreras is hitting 242, Rizzo 236, 292 for Bryant, and a respectable 444 for Nico Horner. But this offense is kind of the Achilles heel right now of the Cubs. Their bullpen as well, you could see after Adams' bullpen appearance. So I think they really need to just hit the bats a little more consistently. And I think, a lot of people out there have said that the Cubs might go toward a rebuild or a fire sale at the trade deadline. We don't know what's going to happen yet. But, we will, of course, especially continue to keep you covered on all things Chicago Cubs as we do with Chicago sports as they continue to unfold. So a tough loss for the Cubs, but it's still early, so Cubs fans don't freak out. This team has still a lot of talented players, a good manager in David Ross with good pedigree, and can obviously mentor players real well. We've seen him do that so far in his career when he played for the Cubs, helped them in the World Series in 2016, and as the manager for your North Stars at Wrigley Field. So that's our little update on the Cubs. We'll keep you updated as usual. Check out social media for any shares I give because I'll usually share something cool I see or a big stat or story for any Chicago sports team. Facebook Lives, blog posts as they come up, and that's just where the Cubs are right now. It's early. It's early in baseball. You can't really say, oh, this team's out of it. Oh, this team's going to do this. It's only 21 games out of 162. It's really hard to judge what's going to happen. You can judge it when it's at least close to 80 games, even maybe slightly. So now we're going to head to the south side of Chicago, where the Chicago White Sox just swept the visiting Texas Rangers. Now, Game 1 was real interesting. Dane Dunning coming back to town for the first time as a visitor with the Texas Rangers. Pitched pretty good, but the White Sox were able to pull that one out 9-7. Your Mercedes 4-hit game. 2-1 the White Sox had over the Rangers last night. It was Nick Madrigal, their second baseman of the future. They hope him to be. Nicky Two Strikes going at it once again, getting the walk-off hit. And today it was the Michael Kopech White Sox offense show. So Michael Kopech pitched his first home start in 3 years. He had a 4 inning start over in Boston this past weekend, the weekend before this weekend, and did pretty well as the White Sox won that game as well. But just kind of taking a look at it right now, Kopech went 10 strikeouts, 87 pitches in his pitch count. Tony La Russa, Hall of Fame manager, being smart, due to Kopech's recovery from the injury and opting out last year, needing to get more used to Major League pitching again. He's a very young player as well. So it's really important the way they're managing things with Michael Kopech. I think that's a really good thing for the White Sox right now. But the only issue with the pitching today that I noticed was Jonathan Stever. Still a pretty young pitcher. Hasn't been in the majors too much with the White Sox, so not much major league pitching experience. Pitched pretty good amount for the White Sox over the years in the minors. And this is a player that, in my opinion, just taking a look at it, in 15 pitches, 3 earned runs were given on 4 hits. So not a good start. He loaded the bases a few times, walked a few guys. That's not what you want to do, and that's why they brought in Garrett Crochet. Only gave up 3 hits and 1 strikeout in 46 pitches. Helped hold down the White Sox bullpen, and the White Sox took down the Rangers today 8-4. So the White Sox moved a record of 12-9 on the year, 6-3 at home. The visiting Texas Rangers now moved to 9-13 and a 6-7 away record. So just kind of taking a look at that, the White Sox, the offense is going. I think the big story this year has to be, with Eloy out for 4 to 5 months, as we were told recently. It's going to be tough. It was going to be a question of where would the offense be reproduced with that missing piece. And the answer has been Tim Anderson continuing what he's done. Nick Madrigal and Robert both hitting right now above 300. Zach Collins, Louis Garcia, Andrew Vaughn in left. A lot of those pieces coming together. But Yerman Mercedes has just been an incredible story. And that's the beauty of sports, guys, that we've seen, is just these incredible stories coming about. And I think the answer is Yerman Mercedes. A guy that has fought through the odds, and has, just taking a look at the stats, he's batting 414 out of this game. He's still over 400. He went 8 for 8, and I think it's just really incredible what he is able to do. It's incredible. That's the best way you could say it. Texas got 11 hits today. To the White Sox also got 11, but the White Sox were able to bring in the most runs with 8. They went up 8-1 pretty early in the game, but baseball shows you, as Friday's game did, the Rangers came back, and the White Sox were lucky to pull out, and that happened today as well. I think I'm gonna release this question as well. So we're gonna have 2 questions about the White Sox, and then I'm gonna open this card here. Not seeing any comments yet, so whoever's viewing, please reach out if you have a question, or you want to talk about something specific. I can touch on the Cubs again briefly if you have a question about that. And we're going to still keep this going here. So just kind of tell me what you guys are thinking. So hang on. I'm going to bring the question out. So the question I'm going to pose, the first of 2 on the White Sox, is what are your thoughts on Kopech's start today that he had in the win against the Texas Rangers? So I'm going to open that question. So I think Kopech did a really good job, like I said. I think it really helps the White Sox. So now I'm going to open a different question here in this video. How would you evaluate the interesting season start for the White Sox? So it's kind of where we were with the Cubs. It's an interesting start for both teams in Chicago right now. The White Sox sit at a winning record. 4-game winning streak right now. They have Detroit coming to town on Tuesday, and then Cleveland coming back into Chicago, who have been playing. Those teams have been playing, seeing quite a bit of each other this year already. But Jose Abreu still swinging the bat well with a low batting average. Just looking at the White Sox, a lot of people thought the bullpen would be a strong side, and it is somewhat. It is really like we said about the Chicago Cubs, and the same goes for the White Sox, goes for any team Major League Baseball. And that's what it comes down to with looking at the stats here with the games. This is a team that is also playing its first full 162 game season since 2019. But just looking at the bats, we have batting averages. The only batting average we have of the starting 9 on average under 200 is Yasmani Grandal. You have Abreu, just looking at it, courtesy of Baseball Reference, 211 for Abreu, Madrigal at a respectable 295, your Mercedes 424, and Adam Eaton is showing fans. Now, obviously, there's going to be different opinions on a signing in the offseason, early, like this past year, offseason, but Adam Eaton is a key signing for this team right now. Plays a really good right field, a strong fielder, and I think he does a really good job for the White Sox. And it's good to have him back in Chicago. Really good character player. Maybe could fight a little less on the field, but that's just the energy of the game. We've seen a lot of teams do that. And Vaughn's having some growing pains, but he's batting a respectable 237 right now. No home run yet, but the bats will come for him. The hits will come. We saw that with Nick Madrigal last year, getting some growing pains. Every rookie has that. But when he's played a little more, he shows Tony La Russa, okay, I can do this. I can be consistent at the plate. I'm feeling a little more comfortable at the plate. Then he'll get those opportunities. And I think he's played pretty good in left field, guys. I mean, this is the first baseman that's playing left field. Tony La Russa talked about it in spring, how he played a little bit in left, and they wanted to try him out. You got Billy Hamilton on that minor league deal back. Jake Lamb could even play a little left if you need to as a utility player. This White Sox team has pieces. And the pitching is pretty great as well right now. The rotation is looking really good. Lance Lynn should be coming off the injured reserve pretty soon. And a lot of fans were worried today when they saw Kopech and not Giolito starting. They were worried if Giolito was hurt. But according to reports courtesy of Vinny Duber and Chuck Garfien, well-respected analysts at NBC Sports Chicago, last night they, right after the game, approached that question on the post game as well. Ozzy and Chuck approached that, and he is going to be fine. He's just pushed back a few days, so Sox fans don't have to worry. Giolito's going to be fine. But the pitching has really been a strong suit for the White Sox. The bats are going to come because we saw that last year with this White Sox team that made the playoffs and the wild card series first time in 12 years. The bats heated up with the weather and were more consistent, solid plays. The defense has been a little bit streaky, but that's the game of baseball. That's what you're going to have. But I think you can feel real comfortable, White Sox fans, with an infield of Abreu, Madrigal, Tim Anderson, and Yohan Moncada defensively. It's not going to be clear-cut perfect. No team is, but I think that's pretty solid. So I'm going to pose another question. We're going to do briefly another topic, and it's the Chicago Bulls. And they're not doing too well. Definitely going through some growing pains right now. I mean, this is just a brief thing. We're going to talk a little more about the Bulls upcoming, after the NFL draft stuff takes through. We're going to plan some Bulls coverage about that as their regular season closes. And, we'll have an episode or a blog post or two come out. But you've seen our blog post about the Bulls. They're having, some big moves since trade deadline they made. And it's not really showing too much on the court. So I think, Bulls fans should be concerned right now. I think, yes, you have two All-Stars on the team, but I think my questions, I'm going to leave it right here. I'm going to try and post one here. It's going to be, how do you think the Bulls will finish their season? I think that's really more up in the air right now than Bulls fans expected after those trade deadline moves. Troy Brown, yes, is still a very young player. He can be good for this team. Daniel Tice, if he comes back to Chicago, I believe he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, is a good piece for the Bulls, whether he starts or is on the bench. Plays pretty consistently, really good post presence I like. The questions of Larry Markin and Kobe White right now, I think, are interesting. Yeah, you have Zach LaVine out, but I do think Larry Markin should be starting a little more. And a lot of Bulls fans are worried about how that would affect the defense. Patrick Williams holds the defense down really well. Kobe White has pretty decent defense. Vucevic could play a little defense. I don't see Vucevic and Larry out there together as an issue. I think Thad Young's great, but it's kind of like moving a player from where he's strongest for the team from the bench this year or starting if there's an injury and moving him to the starting role. We have seen him play well, but not where he was before that lineup move after the deadline that Thad Young received. So I think Larry Markkinen should be put back in the starting lineup along with Kobe White. And a lot of Bulls fans are talking about it. Kobe White is not true point guard. That is a very incorrect statement. I think he is a point guard. That's why he plays point guard. But in order for a player to develop well, the way we've seen in the league, Ben Simmons moving the point guard and it working out well, other players moving to new positions and trying new things and having it work out. It's because they developed in the game situation, starting, going through those growing pains. And I think that's kind of where Billy Donovan is failing this team right now. I think Kobe White has the potential to be a solid point guard for this team in the future. The one fans keep saying they need to trade for, go get Alonzo Ball. You have a point guard right here in Kobe White. I think he's a really good piece. Fits well with that starting lineup we saw before the trade deadline. And yes, things could change, but there's only so many games left. So as usual, we at Will Score Special continue to cover all things Chicago Bulls, and hopefully we see the Bulls get some more wins consistently here as they play tomorrow. So I'm going to go into some announcements. As you see in the title, it's Chicago Sports Catchup and important podcast announcements. So there's going to be a official mock draft like you saw last year. It's only going to be a 1.0, sadly, just because there's been a lot of things going on lately with the podcast. We've been working on some things over here as well. So there's going to be a 1.0 mock draft coming out as soon as possible. Your host right here has already got some research prepared, some nice little picks and surprise trades like you saw last year. So I'm going to try and pretend to be Ryan Pace and see, in my own opinion, who they're going to take in the draft. So you can be on the lookout for that. There's going to be an episode upcoming. Don't know yet if it's going to be a recap or a preview of the draft. Usually it'll be one or the other with us here with Score Special, as you've heard on past episodes. So You guys will hear about that as it gets closer. I'll probably pop up, do another Facebook Live, hit up our Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook about it. YouTube channel will be up as well. You guys will see, as usual, since the show started 3 years ago, when something's coming up, so that we are able to check it out. You know what's going on, and we'll go from there. So the Bears are going to be an interesting spot in the draft coming up, so we're going to cover that as it continues to get closer. So be out on the lookout for our mock draft. Now I'm going to post this question, and it's something about our official sports blog. So there's a lot of things connecting to Will's Fifth Quarter Special as a whole. And it's because that's the beauty of sports. There's a lot of different ways you can cover it. You know, writing, video, like here I'm talking with you guys, interacting with all of you fans, and audio when we do our episodes with segments, Will's Sports Movie Moment, Will's Fifth Quarter Trivia, bringing on guests, all kinds of stuff like that. So there's a lot of different elements to Will's Fifth Quarter Special. So our blog is called Will's Fifth Quarter Sports Talk. And you've seen me post that on our Facebook profile and on social media when a post comes up. So you go to our website link that you've seen before, willsfifthquarterspecial.com. And I'm going to put it in the screen here briefly, so just give me a second. So you can go to willsfifthquarterspecial.com. So I'm going to pull it up right here. And so right here you see the web page. So you're going to go to this button. Hang on. You're going to go to that, and you're going to go to Will's Fifth Quarter Sports Talk. So this is it right here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to put a little, yeah, it's a little hard to see. But you can scroll down, and this is one of our blog posts. So every blog post is going to have a comment section. And the reason we have that comment section since the blog started, comment sections on our YouTube channel, social media, all kinds of stuff like that, is to hear what you guys have to say. That's one of the things I pride myself on as the host and creator and owner of Will's Fifth Quarter Special, is making sure each and every one of you, new fan, current fan, past fan, returning fan, doesn't matter. Fans in general are important to this podcast, just as they are in sports. And its reason is because it helps the show grow. It helps the show continue to grow in the right way to where I hope it can continue to grow for each and every one of you to enjoy. And the comment section allows you to kind of give your thoughts on my takes. My takes are not always going to be right. They're not always going to be wrong. And you see that with a lot of articles on sports stuff or mock drafts that are done. They're not always right and they're not always wrong. It's a very one only perspective. Of many different perspectives you're going to see or hear from friends or family or friends at work that you talk to. And that's the beauty of sports talk, guys, and Will's Fifth Quarter Sports Talk is all about that. I give my take on things going on, whether it be trade deadline for the Bulls, we have a recent one on that, or Carlos Rodon's no-hitter, we covered that. Season previews back in 2020 for baseball and the Cubs and Sox, all kinds of different stuff we cover when we're not able to do an audio episode or a live stream for you guys. That's another way for you guys to check out Will's Fifth Quarter Special. So that comment section is for each and every one of you to kind of give your takes. And early on, we've seen that. I've seen people interact with the sports blog on social media and reach out saying they like the articles. And we really appreciate those of you that have reached out, fans of the show and comments in our articles. I appreciate that. We being the show, me being the host. Just make sure you guys know why I say we sometimes. That's for the show as a whole. And I think I think you guys are gonna like what's coming. Continuing with the blog, there's gonna be a lot more stuff coming out, but it's another element for you guys to enjoy. So if you have any questions about how to find Will's Fifth Quarter Sports Talk, you can go to a social media post. I usually describe how you can find certain things. So like find the comment section. There's always going to be a link, and then you can link on it, click on any blog post, and it'll have a comment section. It's going to have an archive by month of when stuff's come out, so you can see it that way as well. And I'm going to come out with a promotional video probably in the future on how Will's Fifth Quarter Sports Talk works, just like you guys saw with the 3-year anniversary of, Will's Fifth Quarter Specials on Will's Sports Movie Moment, Will's Fifth Quarter Trivia, how those work. And I really hope To those fans that haven't checked out Wheels of Course Sports Talk yet, I really hope that you guys check it out. There's some really great content out there covering not just Chicago sports but collegiate sports. There's going to be even more coming, but I'm not really ready to intro more different types of articles until we can see what you guys are with the blog in terms of interaction. So that's going to kind of be on the back burner. Kind of want to see a little more fan interaction. So we're really hoping that you guys interact a little more with the podcast, blog, Will's Course Sports Talk, and our YouTube channel even. This video will be up there as well. So just search Will's Course Special, and you'll be able to find all our video content as well. Free to subscribe. Please subscribe. We need some more subscribers. So this is going to be the end of our Facebook live stream today on April 25th, 2021 of Will's Fifth Course Special. I want to thank each and every one of you for your support. As I mentioned, I fought through COVID-19 2 weeks ago and made it through. And I appreciate what you guys do as fans for the show, supporting us, listening to us, and I hope that continues. I know it's kind of been on hold for a while, but I really hope that you guys still continue to support the show. It's going to be growing for a very long time. It's going to be around for a very long time. But know that a lot of this stuff I do isn't just because I love to do it as the host of the show and for the show. It's for you guys. So I really hope, like I said, that you guys check out the podcast blog, Will's Score Sports Talk, listen to the episodes, check out these live streams on the YouTube channel. I know it can get busy, but we at Will's Score Special really hope that you guys know how important you are to this show, and how it can continue to grow in the right way and the future of the show. So when the fourth quarter buzzer sounds, you turn to us for your fifth quarter sports talk. I'll see you next time, whether it be a blog post, live stream, on YouTube, social media, or on the airwaves on our episodes and listening options. This is your host and creator, Will Farrell, saying enjoy your Sunday evening. Go spend time with your families, socially distance, and wear a mask. Or do something fun. So long from this Facebook Live of Will's Fifth Quarter Special. I'll see you guys next time.